Hello. It's been a while since I did any voiceovers or Q&A. I think my last Q&A was like literally a year ago. And I just wanted to come back here and talk a little bit about myself and my goals for the New Year's. And I've gotten a couple of questions from my Instagram. So I'm gonna go through some of my goals first for the new year. I don't usually make New Year's resolutions. It's not something that I usually do because I did that a couple of times and I realized that I'm really bad at keeping things go for the long term. And it's because I make really unrealistic goals and I'd be really let down that like a year later and be like, oh, I only did that for the first 3 months or the first month, maybe even a couple of weeks, and then not look back to it. I've heard it takes 28 days for a habit to fully establish into your everyday lifestyle. So like after 28 days, it's not that hard to get over with. But I know a lot of you will understand that getting past that 28 days is not as easy as you think it is. In retrospect, 28 days isn't a very long time, but in the moment, it does feel like forever. And so for this year, I'm gonna probably focus on smaller goals, and I'm not making a bigger goal list. So like every beginning or the end of the month, I guess. I'm doing it end of the month. I would make a new goal for the new month. And it's just one thing, like drink water in the morning or drink less coffee. I don't know. And I just think about what I need to do each month. So basically I wouldn't plan out a full year of goals in my planner or anything. It's just a little reminder to myself to do little things that will change my life and the people around me. So that is my goal for the new year. It's just to do small things that matters, like random acts of kindness or telling your friends that you love them. So it's all those little things that you don't do so often, and it's not something that you would see in a New Year's resolution, maybe. But I think a lot of the times New Year's resolutions are catered towards productivity and maybe self-care for productivity. And productivity is great, is good. If you're chasing that, I'm totally fine with that. I am still chasing that. I am still on that grind. But I want to acknowledge the little things that I have in life that I value. And yeah, that is my goal for the new year, to do little things to make big changes. That is my theory, that it will make my life more significant and for those around me more significant. It's a really simple but also complex goal. It's not like a definitive answer of I will do this year. It's not like that. It's just like if I couldn't finish a goal from the last month, I would try to do it again the month after. So it's much forgiving, and I think it feels more genuine, at least to me. And yeah, and let me know what kind of goal you guys have over the new year. I received a couple of questions from friends and from you guys. I'm not gonna go all of them, but I'm just gonna go through some of them. My friend asked me, self-care to avoid burnout. I think all students experience burnout. I see it quite a lot amongst art students, especially because like normally when I see an art student burnout, it seems it's like it looks a bit more intense than any other majors, because we are assigned with projects. So it's not like we sit down, we study. If we studied well through the semester, we wouldn't mess up the exam. It's more like you have to keep on working constantly. So you need to do time management really well, and you need to sort of... Okay, to clarify what I'm trying to say here, it's just that for a lot of art students, there's a lot of physically taxing work. Like if you need to go to the print studio, you have to physically be there. And when you're printing, you use a lot of your energy on printing. And if you are painting, you'd be standing up or you'd be sitting down. Like there's a lot of physical activities, more than you think that you signed up for will be there. So that's what I mean. And that's why I'm saying, I don't want to like say that all other majors are not worth burnout or something. Yeah, I don't want to say that, but it kind of sounds like that I'm saying that, but that's not what I mean. So back to the video. And you need to really, really work hard so that you can get a grade to graduate. And there's also a lot of things where art students are like, I don't want to make bad art. So everyone puts their soul into what they're making. And that is totally fine. But once you start grading it, I think you start to overthink it and people go really, really into it. And at least for me, I don't know when to stop. So I think I have a problem of working too hard, especially in a painting or in a printing process. I would have this idea, I will want to actualize it, but it is kind of like unrealistic for me to do that because the credit course I have doesn't need me to do that, but I do it anyway because I want to do it. So it's hard finding a middle ground. I think what I do to avoid burnout is I do something else that's creative. I think when it comes to art school, one of the roughest part, I've talked about it in my previous vlog, is that it's kind of a trade-in that you have to do because art becomes your work. You have to find a way to make a new hobby or to express your creativity in a different lens. What I like to do is I really like to sing. I don't know if my friends know, but I really like to sing and I like to play the guitar. I'm really bad at it. But it's fine. It's okay if you're bad. It's okay if you're bad at singing, if you're bad at guitar. All you have to do is have fun and really just find a safe ground that you don't feel like you're being measured in. So I do that. And what I also do is change my environment. So if I feel a little bit burnt out, I don't do anything. And I think one of the problems is that I just lay down and I don't have any energy to do anything. But what I do is I would try to force myself to change my environment in the littlest way. Let's say I will clean my sheets or I'll clean up my desk. And that's all the task I do. And it still makes me quite better in a way. And it makes me want to get over the burnout. I think burnout happens to me whenever I start neglecting myself. And you don't really know you're neglecting yourself until you see the state of your own working area or the state of your own room and everything. And if you organize what you can see and what you feel every day, I think it kind of changes the perspective of I don't have any control in my life right now and I freaking hate myself. I think I do a lot less of that once I actually get myself up, clean my room, do my laundry, do little things. Yeah, I think that's one thing that really helped me out. I'm not sure if it applies to everyone. Take my advice with a grain of salt. Or like another self-care thing I do is I take myself on dates sometimes, It's just sometimes you just need to be alone in a place where you'll feel good. So what I do is I would treat myself to expensive coffee and be like, oh, I feel rich. It's the little things. I feel so happy, rich, and nice because I would never buy myself expensive coffee unless it's very necessary. And sometimes you're just like, okay, I'm going to treat myself out, go to a cafe, bring my journal or iPad or whatever, and do something I like and drink coffee because coffee is one of my favorite beverages. And then I'd be like, oh yeah, it's great to kind of live in the moment just for a moment. It's okay if you lose 2 hours of your time. You're not going to die. And I think treating yourself to what you really love is very important. Yes. And for the next question, how do I travel with oil paint? This, my friend, it's always a struggle. I always wish that I had 2 sets of oil sets, like in campus and at home, but it's not like that. So what I would do is I have this briefcase. I talked about it in one of the vlogs. Of me getting it. I got this really old school briefcase from campus because they were giving it out for free. And I picked it up and I was like, this is perfect for putting my brushes in a very neat way, because my locker, it needs some sort of box instead of leaving it out in the open. You need something with structure inside it. So I put everything in the briefcase, and that's how I carry it. And it actually works like a wonder. I really like it. It's a good investment. But I don't know if you can find an old school briefcase like I did, because if you can afford oil paint, I'd say go for it. Yeah, it's great, but it's very heavy. But I think it's kind of worth it. It's a lot easier to carry it than in a backpack where it just rustles around. It's just so unrealistic. And one of the other questions is, how do I know if I should study art? I didn't know either. When I first came into art school, I didn't know if I was allowed to be in there. I think that's one of the things that most artists go through. It's you'd be surprised on what you can do in art school, but you'd be surprised how little you can do in art school as well. I think when it comes to art school, it really depends on your own willingness to do more and to explore more and be a little bit more adventurous with your artistic paths. So even if I'm studying fine arts right now, who knows, I might be working in the design field, or who knows, publication, or I don't know, retail, who knows. But everything about art is about being self-disciplined and just willing to do work. And you shouldn't measure yourself as, oh, can I go to art school because I am a horrible artist? Because I used to think that. And there are so many different ways artists express themselves, and I don't particularly think there is bad art. I mean, there is bad art, but there's conceptual art, there is cut. But I do think there is a variety of ways of expressing art. So it doesn't particularly need to be visual art. So I think there is a big stigma on art school being just for painters and drawers. But no, it's not. That's not the case. You've got a variety of different artists in art school. There's performance art, there's conceptual art, there's a lot of theorists, and you might be worried that you're not a great visual artist, but you will be, because I thought I went through the same thing. I thought I was an imposter. I shouldn't belong in the art school world or the art world because I'm not a good artist. Because I only did sketching. I never used color. I never painted before. Never properly painted a big piece. I've never done anything other than copying other people's faces or like whatever art. That's how I learned art. I was alone in my room copying other people, and I felt like I shouldn't be there. And it's okay to feel like that. It's totally okay. So to kind of like organize my thoughts a bit, how do you know if you should study art? If you're willing to learn. I was afraid going into art school, but I was very willing to learn and be the best I can to be a good artist. I still don't consider myself a good artist, but I don't consider myself a horrible artist like I used to before. And I think that is an improvement. And I think that improvement came from my willingness to learn and my willingness to be vulnerable. I'm not sure if this is the reason why you're hesitating to go to art school, but for me, at least for me, I think the biggest concern was I'm not even that great of an artist. Why would I go to art school? It's not like I'm gonna make a lot of money and become famous. But as I went through art school, there is a variety of different ways to make revenue in art, or have a creative path. It's really hard to think beyond that when you're outside of art school. I never really thought of it that way, but yeah. So I kind of suggest you to think about it a little bit more if you want to have a career in art or if you want to study art. I'm not sure if that answered your question. I'm sorry if it didn't. Anyway, well, thank you for tuning into this vlog. This was mostly just me chatting, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye.